So I wanted to explain the appraisal and appraisal contingency part of the escrow process. So basically the situation a buyer has an appraisal contingency. If the buyer has appraisal contingency, then if the home doesn't appraise, the buyer has the ability to cancel. Even if the seller is willing to go down to the price that it appraised for, technically the buyer could cancel in that situation. Usually they won't, but they can. What happens? The appraisal's done. Typically you want to make sure you have a local appraiser, someone that's going to know the area. It can be different from street to street or neighborhood to neighborhood. You want someone that knows the area. You got to know what time frame you're working within for the appraisal contingency deadline and get an appraiser out there as soon as possible. Typically they set that up with the listing agent who coordinates it with the seller and gets the appraiser in there, and then they do the appraisal, and then when it comes back, if it comes in at purchase price, then great. What typically happens, rarely do appraisals come in over purchase price because the lender doesn't really care if it's worth more than that. They just want to know that it appraised for at least the purchase price because they're going to loan on either the less of the purchase price or the appraisal price. So what happens if it comes in low? There's really three things that can happen. If it comes in low, the buyer can just say, okay, I'm fine with it, I'll just make up the difference. Or the buyer can say, I'm not fine with it, I'm canceling. Or the seller can come down to that price. Either one of those if the buyer doesn't want to come up. Or what happens a lot of times is there's a negotiation and it ends up somewhere in between. Those are the three main things that are going to happen from it. Usually we're able to work something out. Depends on the market. Sometimes if values are going up a lot, appraisals don't come in, and that's just because values are going up, and it's based on historical data on the comps, and if they don't have something to justify that new price, then it will come in low. Doesn't mean the home's not worth it, but it may come in low. Just something to think about, a few things there to think about. Hopefully that helps. Thanks.